Hey guys, welcome to the latest episode of Beyond the Tape podcast, where we talk to people doing big things in the mountain bike industry or alternative industries within Australia. For this one, we've got a bit of a different one that strays in the mountain bike industry for now, but there might be some big news coming up. Firstly, let's mention the people that are bringing this podcast to you. So we've got Canyon Bicycles here. Those guys have come on in a big way. I've been frothing on this Spectral. Recently just did a rebuild of it just for my own sake as a mechanic. I just like to see what is going on there. And it's all double sealed bearings. And they've actually got these mechanical rubber seals as well at all the pivots that act as a double seal. So when I took off all the swing arms and everything and took it all apart, the bearings were actually dead clean, and this bike has seen some bull dust. It's seen some pretty wet weather, so I was super surprised by that. Really happy with the bike. Super easy to rebuild too. The quickest one I've ever done, I reckon. So stoked on that. Two Up Bike Co are on board for this year as well, doing factor components. I've got a new stem and some pedals coming for the Canyon, so hopefully I'll get back on those flats. Super keen for the wheels as well. Really keen to get some Nova wheels. Just waiting on the bank to magically have some numbers pop up. Next, we've got NSDynamics. They are Australia's premium suspension servicing company. Those guys absolutely kill it when it comes to servicing suspension and making it run better than new. Huge fan of their work. And as I've said before, 24-hour turnaround for most of those guys. So epic work from them. We have Huck the World as well. Been repping these shirts for a while. Been frothing on them. Super lightweight. The tech tee's good for everything. It doesn't look like a clown costume, and they're super cheap. One of my shop riders, the guy that I'm sponsoring, has been wearing the shorts as well because they don't make shorts for my fat ass. But anyway, he's been frothing on those shorts. Reckons the pockets are perfect. Next and last up, we've got Dirt Surfer as well. Those guys make some rad mud guards. You can't see it behind me, unfortunately, but they've made some Beyond the Tape podcast ones as well for sponsoring the podcast. Basically, head over to beyondtape.com.au and purchase one of those, and all proceeds go to helping the podcast go along from today onwards. Anyway, huge shout out to everyone that purchased the shirt as well. We're donating a few $100s to the Lighthouse crew. They got some bikes knocked off and stuff over the holidays, and we'll get some more people on some helmets. We'll get them some kit. We'll get them riding their bikes again, which is sick. Anyway, for this podcast, we are chatting with Sam Moore from Fist Industries, Fist Gloves. He is an absolute legend. He has some really good insight to starting a business and how to take things easy. I don't speak that much in this one, mainly because I was learning so much. So I hope you guys enjoy it as well. And his positive attitude is more contagious than COVID. So thanks so much to Sam for coming on. As always, grab a beer, grab a water, grab a wine, and enjoy the podcast. You've been tracking up there. You guys all good?
Yeah, good, man. Everything's pretty sweet. Like, everything's pretty normal for us. Yeah, I don't know. I just haven't traveled. That's the other thing that's weird.
Yeah, exactly. I know how you feel. How's the whole postage situation and stuff treating you?
Yeah, well, it's been fucked, but it seems to have gotten a little better now. They seem to have got. Our main thing was like international freight, really. Like at the start of COVID, we're recording, right?
Yeah, we can. Yeah, well, I am, but yeah.
Are we just into it? Let's go.
Yeah, let's just do it.
I love it. Yeah. So basically, at the start of COVID, like we were shipping like a lot of stuff, and it wasn't. Australia Post never told us that they stopped shipping to the US and stuff. So what happened was we were shipping all this product, and it was literally just going and sitting in a warehouse in Brizzy. And like literally like a month later, we had all these people like, where is our stuff? And we're like, oh, I don't know, called Ozpost. And they're like, oh, no, we stopped shipping to the US like a month ago. We're like, what do you, hang on. So where's all this stuff going? And they're like, oh, it's all in a big warehouse in Brisbane. I'm like, oh, great. How good's that?
Oh, dude, it's like we were getting sent stuff down here to SA from like Queensland and stuff. And when we had that like 3-day lockdown, they just decided to keep putting stuff in the warehouse, like in Adelaide, and it would just get backed up.
Yeah.
With no one knew.
Mental, eh?
It's crazy. And then my bike as well, like even peak COVID time, it was took 4 days to get from Germany to Australia, and then took 7 days to get from Queensland to here.
Like, honestly, that's pretty fast considering. Like, most of our stuff was taking like a minimum of 4 weeks.
Fuck, that's insane.
Yeah.
Insane. How many angry emails did you get?
Like, honestly, I was spending. I mean, we're still having. So we have a warehouse in the US as well, and even like shipping within the US. So like, it's in San Diego, and even just to wherever in America, it's still like taking double, triple the amount of time than it should. And there's like no tracking and all kinds of stuff. But at first they blamed COVID. Then they were blaming the election because of all the postal votes, and now I think they're just blaming a combination of the two things. So it, I don't know, it's crazy. But like the craziest thing I feel like over the whole COVID thing is like COVID's just such a massive excuse for everyone not doing their job. So it's like, oh, this didn't happen because of COVID. It's like, no, it didn't. It just didn't happen because you didn't fucking do it.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's not because of COVID. It's because you just didn't do your job.
Yeah. You experience postal and delivery days all the time. Like, and then they just have an excuse now for some things, for sure.
Mental. But, so anyway, it's all good. It seems to have, like, somewhat cleared up now. I feel like in Australia, we don't really have the delays aren't too bad within Australia, but I mean, overseas, depends on what carrier you use as well. Like, like your FedExes and your DHLs and stuff seem to be pretty fast still because they have their own planes. Whereas like all those other people, like a lot of was on passenger planes, you know. So people that own their own fleet, I think, are all good. But I
got a delivery from you guys. I ordered last week. It only took about a week to get down here, which is pretty good. Yeah.
I mean,
through FedEx
should be pretty good. So
I think in March it took a month.
Yeah.
When I got some. So it's insane.
It's crazy, yeah.
So maybe we'll get a bit of a backstory from you as well before we go too far. But who are you and what do you do?
Oh man. So I'm from Tassie. I grew up in Tassie. Basically I was just a wannabe motocross rider. Never going to be good enough to be pro. So I just loved riding, loved everything about, you know, the industry, the products, the brands, all that kind of stuff. Just loved all of that. And then basically I started a little agency representing brands down in Tasmania when I was 17. Like one of my first brands was actually Ogio through Lusty Industries. So Johnny's one of my best friends to this day. Like I started with them when I was 17, which is crazy. And
that's insane.
So I did that. And I did Platypus Australia, which was like a company that did like DVDs and stuff like that. So we're selling all the Moto DVDs back before, like, I guess YouTube was so big and, you know, all that kind of like online platforms. I just did Moto products out of Tassie, and then basically I did that for a fair few years, and then I stumbled upon Rockstar energy drink and actually became the state like distributor for Rockstar. And I did that for a few years, and then while I was doing that was when I started Fist on the side. And then I moved to Melbourne to like help run Rockstar's marketing program for Australia. And then ran Fist on the side. I mean, we actually just did it's just been 10 years since I started Fist, end of last year. So we're going to do some like 10th anniversary stuff, but I just haven't quite got there yet as far as we've been so busy with everything else that it's been really hard to organize it. But so basically, I moved to Victoria to work for Rockstar. Do the marketing, and then then what happened? Did that, then moved back to Tassie for a little bit, and then I ended up moving to Queensland 4 or 5 years ago to work for Unit.
Oh yeah, cool.
And then I was there for a couple of years until basically FIS just got to the point where I couldn't run it as a sideline anymore. You know, it was sort of, we were so busy. Like I was so busy doing it that I couldn't do it as a sideline. So basically, it's been I guess like 4 years that I've been doing full time FIS. So
that's hectic.
Which is hectic. It's crazy that we got to a point where we sell enough gloves to employ a few of us now, which is cool. Like, I've got a bunch of my mates working for me, which is funny. Like we have a lot of fun at work, which is cool. And it's good. So that's the short version of it.
Yeah. It's like, it's almost hard enough these days for anyone with experience to get a job in the industry. But how do you manage getting a gig with like Ojo and Johnny at 17?
Well, I guess like with Tassie, it was just such a small market that no one really wanted to look after it. So I guess traditionally they would send, say, a Victorian rep would do Tassie as well. But I was down there and I had a tiny little bit of experience working for my mum's life jacket company, actually. So I had already done some like repping stuff. So like when I spoke to him, I already sort of understood that whole the sales game, you know. So I could that was sort of, I guess, got my foot in the door because I sort of already knew what I was doing, sort of. And so basically we just I just got started doing that stuff and then basically just worked my way up and I just, as far as like Rockstar and stuff like that goes, like I just wanted to be involved. I wasn't like overly worried about like making money or making a heap of money. I just wanted to go. So like, you know, for example, if I was, you know, I wanted to go to a motocross national or whatever else, I'd ring up and say, hey, if you send me there, if you pay for my expenses, you don't have to pay me. Or like, or I'll go. I just want to go and help, you know, stuff like that. So that's sort of, I guess, like one of those things where, you know, like you've just got to put yourself in the right position, you know, and then work it out from there. You know, like I've always been that guy that I guess, you know, I don't worry about the money, and I guess that's like one of the things is, you know, eventually it comes, doesn't it? You know, if you do the right thing and you're passionate about something and you do a really good job of it, then eventually someone's going to pay you to do it. So
it's just a byproduct. It's
a byproduct, you know. I mean, it sounds so like cliche and everyone says that shit, but it is true. I guess that's why everyone says it, you know, because you know, I went to so many events and did so much stuff that I never got paid for, but I didn't want to get paid for it because it was just, that's what I wanted to do, you know?
Yeah. What was your mum's life jacket company? You kind of skimmed over that, but
it's pretty random. So my mum owns a life jacket company called Stormy Life Jackets, or something else, Stormy Seas. She started that nearly 30 years ago, and so basically the backstory of that was my dad was an abalone diver in Tasmania, and my mum was, you know, why don't you wear life jackets? And it's like, oh, because they can't wear, you know, foam life jackets because it gets in the way while they're working, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And so basically she, they found a way to make inflatable life jackets. And and she still, that's what she does still to this day. So it's, it's down in Hobart. It's pretty random, but like, you know what you say, like I guess, you know, there's someone whose job is to make that pen, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know, like everything has to come from somewhere. It's not just, you know, it doesn't come out of thin air, does it?
No, exactly right. You never think about that stuff.
Exactly.
Is that, I'm guessing it's a bit different to growing up with everyone. Like I grew up with everyone in a 9-to-5 job, or my mum would do night shifts and stuff. But if you're growing up with like entrepreneurs making life jackets and abalone divers, it's going to give you a bit of a different upbringing, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I guess in our family, like I remember some of my youngest memories is like, you know, we used to, you know, they have these like valves in the, like, to blow up the life jackets. They're like rubber, but the inflation systems never used to come with the valve in the end of it. So we actually used to have we'd have 5 kettles in the kitchen with the valves sitting, or the tubes sitting in the kettle to heat up the plastic, and then you'd pull it out and push the valve in the and that's like, one of the things we used to do. We'd do that at night around the kitchen table.
Yeah.
It's pretty random. So I guess it's like one of those things is like, I've always sort of subscribed to, that you just, if you want to do something, you just work out what you want to do and just go at it until you do it,
Yeah.
So,
just work it out and find ways to make it work.
I mean, no one's any smarter than anyone else, right? It's just you've spent more time doing a certain thing, which then makes you better at that thing than the other people.
Exactly. Yeah.
You could make gloves too if you spent the last 10 years making gloves.
Yeah.
That's what it is, But
you got to have that drive, right?
Well, you do, but I mean, it's one of those things that it just depends. I feel like people just give up too easily on things. Like, I've always just been like, oh, well, I'm just doing that. And, it's a bit of it's my sideline. So if I'm not making a bunch of money out of it or things aren't working, then you just chill on it for a week or so and then you try again, And I guess the thing is, because I've never relied on it as an income. Well, I didn't for the first X amount of years. Then the pressure isn't there as much. So then, it's more something that I love to do rather than I had to do to make money to have, So I was always doing other things, but I always had this other thing, which was
side,
on the side that that's what I'd do after work or I'd do on the weekends is work on that stuff and I want to do a new glove or this or that or whatever else. And then the reward for me back then was seeing all my friends riding them. It was sick. That's all I wanted to do. And as a kid, I just wanted to be involved in those sports, and be around them. I knew I was never going to be a pro rider or whatever, but I just wanted to be around that energy, and around those sort of people, and just to see them ride in a product that I made was just awesome.
Next level.
Yeah.
But when you're at Rockstar, for example, that was a hectic schedule, right? You were heading up you were a major sponsor for the national series and stuff. We had
a V8 supercar team, the motocross nationals team, and then we had a bunch of other stuff. I mean, it's hectic, but then instead of watching TV, I just worked on gloves. I mean, that was my hobby, that's what I did in my spare time, rather than going to the movies or, doing something on the weekend. That's what I did. I worked on that stuff. I did this stuff, but it was so cool because being I guess flown to all those events and all that kind of stuff, being around all the time is what sort of allowed me to build the brand as well, because I was there in a different capacity, but I could also do, I was at Motocross Nationals, making sure that everyone had their Rockstar hats on and drinking out of the right drink bottles. But, I've got 10 minutes to go and take a couple of photos on my phone of the 2 or 3 privateer dudes that I was sponsoring with Fist, of them wearing their gloves and stuff as well. So it's sort of, it all works out,
Did Rockstar ever give you any trouble or anything like that?
No, sweet. They understood, they got it, which was sick. So, they were really cool. They were awesome brand to work for, and they were nothing but supportive with everything, because I never, I always worked really hard, and it wasn't I was eating into their time, instead of having a lunch break, I'd fucking eat something while I was running around taking some photos or doing something, and it was always kind of, both things were kind of coexist, and it worked out good. And I mean, it was the same with Johnny. I went back and worked for Lusty for years after I left Rockstar. When I was living in Melbourne, I actually was the Victorian rep for Lusty for years, and at the time we actually sold Deft as well. Deft. And the way I looked at it is, it's hey, it's 2 brands, we sell the same thing, but someone's going to sell it. So it may as well be me. I'm not going to, I'm not going to be oh, don't buy this because you got to buy this. It's well, hey, we've got both of these things. We've got 2 different flavors. If you want this, then awesome. If you want this, then awesome as well. Yeah. And, it was awesome because those guys were rad about it, which is sick, because, I mean, I feel like people are so protective and so exclusive of things. And it's like, you know, if there was one brand of mountain bike, do you think mountain biking would be as big a sport as it was?
No, exactly. No. Yeah,
exactly. So you need all those different brands pushing in different areas and making things, and it brings the whole sport up as a whole, the whole industry up as a whole, you know, which is awesome. And I love it. You know, like I've got so many good friends at like competing brands of ours and whatever else. It's fucking great. It's all awesome. You know, like it's all good. Like, and a bit
I think there's almost like a participants conspiracy theory into that all brands hate each other. It's like gang warfare or something.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so funny because it's like, oh, you must hate this guy because blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, no, he's like my best mate. I love him.
Yeah.
We're all just trying to do the same thing, make enough money to be able to do the next cool thing and go to the next cool event and ride our bikes and drink a few beers and high-five each other, you know?
And so you work for Lusty, working with like Johnny and that crew would have been pretty inspiring as well, right?
Yeah, it's awesome. I talk to Johnny all the time. Like I talk to him pretty much weekly still. He's one of my best mates. I've worked for him collectively. Like I've worked for Lusty like twice in my life. So I guess collectively for probably nearly 10 years. You know, like I've been through a lot with those guys as well, you know, brands coming and going and all kinds of stuff. So it's, you know, I mean, it is crazy. Like it's all the same. It's just different. It's just different levels of things, you know, like, it's all the same shit. You know,
exactly.
You running your podcast is just the same as Joe Rogan running his podcast, but he just obviously has a lot more listeners and makes a lot more money. But like,
I'm a lot more sober.
Yeah. But it's just levels, you know, and I mean, you know, you keep keeping at it, eventually you're going to get to it, you know, it's got to go that way if you keep at it, right?
Exactly. Yeah, you just got to put that work in.
Yeah, exactly. It's got to keep doing it.
Because if you're working as a rep for Rockstar and you're doing all that type of work, and like it must be pretty hard for you to manage like the accountancy and like the actual day-to-day business of this as well, right? Because it's not just designing sick gloves.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, you know, obviously, I mean that back then it was a lot different back then.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, you know, like we would sell, you know, like a pair of gloves here, a pair of gloves there, and I'd run down to Australia Post and you know, and post them or whatever else. It's a lot different to where we're at these days. You know, like obviously we have Australia Post pick up every day. Mm-hmm. You know, we've got people, you know, people in the warehouse that do all the shipping and all that kind of stuff, which is cool. But yeah, back in the day, completely different. So we might sell like, you know, back when I was still like working for those guys, which I don't know what year I would have finished up. It would have been like maybe 2000. Would have been like maybe like 2013 or something. I finished up.
Okay.
You know, we would have been selling, you know, probably less, like 10 pairs a week or something.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You
Tiny
know?
amounts.
Yeah. So it's not like, you know, it's not like the workload that we have today.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's chalk and cheese, but that's all right.
And Fist wasn't your first brand, right? Like you started a water company at one point called Flow.
Yeah. Well, when I was doing Rockstar down in Tassie, so we were the distributor. So we bought product off Rockstar, drove around in vans selling it, and then we used to have stores that we'd go into, and they would want to buy extra stuff off us. Like they're like, "What else can you sell us? What else can you sell us?" And I actually just randomly got talking to this dude that bottled water. And I'm like, wait, if I get my own labels, can you put my labels on your bottled water? And he's like, yeah, sure, no worries. It's actually pretty funny you should ask that. Because I was in Tassie over Christmas and I found a bottle of it and it's right next to my desk. Hang on.
No way.
So it's a bit damaged because it's about 100 years old. But that's it.
Sick.
Yeah. Flow.
The best.
So I actually found this in my old office. It's pretty funny. So yeah, I did that. I had a little clothing company as well when I was like 15.
Yeah.
You know, you try these things out, and they don't work, but you know, it's good. You learn. You know.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know how many bottles of water we sold. We actually sold a fair bit, but that was like while we were doing that Rockstar thing. So so that was cool, and yeah, no, it was. I mean, such a learning experience to do at a young age. I finished up with all the beverage side of things when I was like 20, 23.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then how do you go from like water and energy drinks and stuff to gloves?
Well, I was literally doing all of it at the same time. So
what was the main like driving factor behind gloves?
Yeah, so basically what happened with Fist was obviously I rode a lot myself, heaps at that point in my life. And I actually came across did you ever see the brand Grenade, the snow brand Grenade?
No, I can't say I did.
Yeah, so there used to be this snow brand called Grenade, and what they did was just so cool, and my mate Dingo, he actually was one of the guys that started it in that works for Monster.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so he anyway, I saw what they were doing in snow, and it was just so cool because it was like completely different from all the snow like outerwear, and then they would have like these really cool bright gloves, and I was like, why has no one done that in moto or mountain bike or BMX, you know, in two-wheeled sports, you know? Everyone was so like, all right, you get your blue Fox jersey and your blue Fox pants and you wear your blue Fox gloves, you know? And I'm like, well, you know, imagine you wore like all black gear with like some really cool pair of gloves, and, you know, you can be like more individual but without wearing like a clown suit, you know, like something. Yeah. And basically that's what I wanted to do. I just wanted to have something that was a bit more, you know, like a way of people to be able to express themselves and wear cool, bright shit without it being too overbearing and too crazy, you know? And so basically, I I took inspiration from this brand Grenade, and basically I was like, right, let's do it. And just basically just came up with the dream, and then just basically just bashed my head against the wall until I sort of had a glove that we could sell.
How long was like your development process from like idea to your first?
Probably 6 months. Like,
okay, that's not too bad.
It took me ages to find a good factory. Thing is with gloves, like, you know, so many people say to me, oh, you know, it'd be really cool if you could make them in Australia, blah, blah, blah. And I absolutely agree. But the thing is, they're actually a really, really hard product to make, and you've got to like, it's very specialized, because the gloves are all obviously like pre-curved, and you know they're so intricate that so my mum actually has like 4 sewers that still work for her now because they sew life jackets in Tassie. And it was funny, like a while ago, I took a pair of gloves to the girls and I'm like, what do you reckon? And they're just like, oh, fuck that. You know, like, they're like, oh, they're like, that'd take us as long to sew a pair of them as it would a life jacket, you know? And it's like, yeah, well, you know, because when you think about it, there's a lot of stitching and a lot of work in a small space, you know? So, it did take me a fair while to find a good factory, which, you know, obviously I did eventually. It took a lot of backwards and forwards and samples and, you know, talking to people, you know, online on emails and stuff, and eventually found a good one and just developed it from there, you know.
Yeah. And were you always like looking at I think you got the Cordura or Codura like panels, palms and stuff, and you got like the lighter weight top panels. Is that always the way you want to go?
So basically what I did was I found like the 3 gloves that I liked the most in the market.
Yeah.
Then basically mongreled them together. That's
okay.
What I really did was I deconstructed. I looked at all the gloves and I'm like, right, this glove's got like 6 panels on the top of it, but what do those panels actually do?
Yeah, nothing. They look cool.
The answer is nothing. Yeah. So I'm like, but if it didn't have any of those panels on it, you could print something real sick on the whole glove on one panel. and it would actually be a lot more straightforward in construction, and it would look cooler. And I'm like, it doesn't make any sense that these people are putting all these, but that's just the old way of looking at it, that they put more technology into it to make it look like it had more shit going on than what it actually did.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, 100%. Same with the palms. You know, everyone was like double, triple layering and putting foam in weird spots and all this. And I'm like, well, I just feel like the less amount of like bits that are sticking into the palm, the less like irritation you're going to get, because the less like sticking outy bits there are to like rub on your skin. You know what I mean? So I'm like, well, like a flat bit and a flat bit with bits joining it in between. That's gotta be a more straightforward way of doing it, you know, and therefore hopefully better.
Exactly. I get, it's like when you hold like a piece of cardboard in your hand or something, right? And it's stiffer and you grab it and it just pokes into you. Yeah. I could never understand why they had so many panels. It blew my mind. Yeah,
so weird. So I mean, I guess I really just deconstructed it is what I did.
Yeah.
Reverse engineered it. Well, we don't need this and we don't need this and we don't need this. And why has that got all that rubber hanging off it? I feel like it's just making it heavier for no reason. Blah, blah, blah. And then, basically just simplified it and then just used the best possible materials we could find. You know, we actually pay a lot more for our palm material than what we actually even need to, just because it's better. And then we found out a lot of stuff along the way too. Like back in the day, I was like getting all our palms dyed crazy colors so we could have like blue palms and like red palms and all this kind of stuff. And what actually happens is when you do that, the dye actually breaks down the material. And then so they were ripping really easy. So we were getting these gloves back from our customers, and then like obviously like we're as bummed about it as the customers are, because we're trying to build a brand, and people are like, oh, I'm really pissed off that my gloves ripped, and I'm like, fuck, so am I.
Yeah, you know, like, exactly.
Because we've always had a no questions asked return. Like if someone's got a problem with something that we made, I just send them a new one. Like there's no if buts, maybes, no questions, nothing. If you can send me a picture of your gloves that have ripped or broken or there's a problem with them, like we just change it straight away. Like there's no, you know, just send us, like literally I'll get an email, oh, this has gone wrong, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, sick, send us a photo. Oh, that sucks. Okay, what size are you? Where do you want your new gloves sent to, you know? There's nothing worse than people being off you.
Yeah, and it's like less cost consuming for you guys, right? Because people that spend more time sticking around with it.
That's the thing. We don't need to go backwards and forwards 50 times, and then people will be like, oh, but I want to show you this and I want to show you that. And I'm like, hey, if you're bummed, just let me know what you need and I'll just send you another pair. It's all good. No stress. You know, because like, you know, you got to do the right thing. Your customers have chosen your brand, and they've put their trust and their money into you and their belief into you. And if what you're doing isn't matching up to where it should be, then you fix it. So
exactly.
That's what we do. Simple as that.
You guys have been supporting athletes since pretty much day one, right? And helping them out.
Like I said, I just wanted to be involved in the whole deal, man. Like I'm a massive fan of everything, first and foremost, you know. So, you know, like being involved, I love it, you know. Like so, we just, you know, like just that's why we're involved, because we want to be involved. So that's what we do. So yeah, we just, you know, we've got a lot of really good athletes. Robbie Madison's actually he's actually a part owner of the brand.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Right.
So, you know, like, I mean, he's been involved for maybe 6 or 7 years now. Right. I mean, that's been great. Like Rob's one of my best mates, and, you know, it's pretty funny. Like back in the day when Sam Moore rings someone, they don't answer, but when Robbie Madison calls them, they answer.
Yeah.
So, you know, yeah. So, you know, that's the thing. Like sometimes I have to get him to make the phone calls, which is awesome. So, yeah, it's been great. And, you know, we've got so many amazing athletes that are family to us now, you know, like we've had Caroline wearing our stuff for, I don't even know. I should look back and look, but I mean, she would be maybe like 8 years or so.
Yeah, right. That's a long time.
A long time, you know, and it's so cool when, you know, like she rang me and said, oh, I've seen your product. I really like your product. Oakley's just stopped making gloves. That's whose gloves I normally wear because it's my sponsor, but they've stopped making gloves. Would you be interested in doing something? And the first thing I said to her was, I don't have any money. And she's like, oh, no. I just really like, your product. And she knew a few boys that I already sponsored. And she's like, I've just heard that you're a good bloke and, I like the vibe and, it'd be really cool to get involved, which is unreal. Like just full out of the blue phone call.
Yeah, that's epic.
Which is epic. I can remember it now still, like when I got it. It's nuts. Which is so cool because, to me, like that's worth more than anything, it's
100%.
Yeah.
Do your athletes help with like the product testing and vision, or is that mainly up to you guys?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like when we're doing like a signature product or whatever else, like literally I'll be like, the other week I said to Taka Higashino, I'm like, we need to do you a new glove. What do you want to do? And he's like, oh, I already know. I want to do a Mexican blanket theme. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then he just sent me through like 10 photos. And I'm like, okay, sweet, done. Sometimes things are, a little more drawn out than that. I mean, like it was funny. We did Caroline's first one for her years ago. And then she ended up doing the donut thing. But that was like, we already had the artwork done for those and we were struggling to come up with a design for her for a signature glove. And like, we were like pretty much finished the range and we were like, man, like we got to move on this because we have to order this stuff to get it by this date, blah, blah, blah. I sent her all the catalog and I said, well, like anything that doesn't have someone's name on it, you can put your name on if you like.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
and she's like, I love this donut thing. And I'm like, all right, let's go. Come on. So, so funny. That's how it started. And, we've been doing it for years now, which is awesome. It's like our number one selling product. Caroline's the best ambassador ever. She kills it. Her marketing prowess is amazing. Next level. She's way better. I laugh at her all the time. I'm like, you're fucking way better at me than any of this shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, you just come run this stuff and I'll just do whatever.
And I get like there was one glove, the dog's glove, right, where you just basically asked everyone to send you a picture of their dogs at one point.
Yeah, so was truly everyone's was like, it was like Kyle Baldock's dog, Logan Martin's dog, my mum's dog, a bunch of our friends' dogs. Bricks, our designer, his dog was on it. JB that works in the warehouse here, his dog was on it. So it was like literally just all our friends' dogs. And then we got them all like redrawn and then we just put them on a glove and called it dogs or something. And it's so funny. So, I mean, that's the thing. A lot of our inspiration just comes from like our day-to-day life, like, oh, well, we think this would be cool or we think that'd be cool. And then we just literally sit here like this and have a conversation like you and I are now.
Yeah.
And we're just like, well, fuck, like, what do we do? Oh, well, this is cool. Oh, yeah, cool, no worries. Like, literally, Logan Martin's taco glove, I just said to him, he couldn't decide what he wanted for a signature thing. I was like, what's your favorite food? And he goes, tacos. And I said, don't, leave it with me. 2 days later, I'm like, this is your glove. And he's like, holy shit, that's unreal. I'm like, yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah. So, like, literally, that's how we do it because I feel like the less you think about it, and the less serious you take yourself, the better things work out.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
It is that. Like, there are a lot of athletes that take themselves way too seriously. But
yeah, for sure. And none of them ride for us. So it's so good. Like, we have so much fun. And, like, Logan is a very serious dude and, obviously kills it. But it was so funny, like, having him, like, normally he's in, full like competition mode, and then we had him go down to Wahoo's and shoot his Mexican taco glove there. It was that funny. I made him dress up as a Mexican and he just sat there and ate tacos for an hour and we took photos of it. It was unreal.
That's the best.
Best thing ever.
And other than like Carolyn approaching you, and you probably had a few others approach you, how do you go about finding athletes and people you want to sponsor? Or
yeah, I mean, normally for us, like now is more just like finding holes that that we're not well represented in. I mean, we're like you look at like freestyle motocross, we've got a bunch of crew, and you look at freestyle BMX, we've got a bunch of crew.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a couple of new mountain bikers that we're going to be announcing soon. That we weren't really well represented in that side of things, and I mean, no matter what, like you just got to wait. Timing's everything, and it always works. It's funny because like I've always wanted a top level like freestyle like mountain bike dude, and I've always wanted like a top level like downhill mountain bike race dude, and we just hadn't had that. And it always works out. It's just timing and patience. Eventually the right guy. Good people always find each other, right?
Yeah, exactly.
The way I see it, you just go to a few events and do this and do that, drink a heap of beers, and eventually it just works. You just mesh with people, and then it works out. I mean, I've got so many really good friends that, top level guys that can't wear our stuff because of, they're on teams or they're blah, 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 just preventative stuff that, it sucks. But you know what? I know eventually one day it'll work out.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I'm just like, eventually that'll happen, blah, blah, blah. Like, man, I just got off a phone like 10 minutes before I spoke to you. Grant Langston just called me.
Okay. Yeah.
And like same deal. Like, I mean, I grew up my whole life watching Grant race. Like,
that's insane.
I was my hero as a kid, and I ended up just meeting him in America with Matto, and now like, I hadn't spoke to him since before Christmas, and he just rang me out of the blue like an hour ago, and he's like, "Bro, what's going on? I haven't heard from you ages. What are you up to?" It's still crazy to for like we've done 2 signature gloves with Grant, but it's just crazier that he's my mate. Like it's such a weird, weird thing, because I go back and watch all these old moto videos and just like
watch him
remember what it was like to be a kid, and then GL calls you just to see what's going on, and it's a blowout for sure.
It is like it's a weird experience when you meet your heroes like that, but it seems like in these
it really sports, is. It really is.
But everyone's just so chill in these sports. Like it's so
I know
nothing.
I know. It's the same with Metzger as well. Like, I grew up like worshipping Metzger, and now like we did a signature glove with him. We're actually working on another one now, and it's like that's so weird, but awesome.
Sweet, just having light malfunctions.
You get that. It wouldn't be a real podcast if something didn't go wrong.
And so you're like, Mike Metzger and all those crew. Do you have any dream athletes that you'd love to have on it, wearing like a fist glove or anything, or is it just?
Yeah, I don't know, because I feel like I've sort of like done a lot of it, which is super weird. Like I was just a kid from Tassie that just wanted to hang out with, go to pro motocross events and be involved somewhat and like know some people. Blew that out of the water when I was like 18. So I'm now it's all bonus from here. It's all bonus.
What was the scene like in Tassie for you? Like, was it because internet wouldn't have been as big?
No, it's so strange. It's like when you're inside it and that's your life, it's the biggest thing in the world, right?
Mm.
So like when I was 14 years old, going to a state motocross round is just that was gnarly. It was such a big thing, and like however many years later, 20 years later, going to supercross races and hanging out with your friends is like, it's just, it's so weird. I feel like it's such a strange thing, like to be like almost desensitized to the shit that just to light you up when you're a kid, it's like,
I get that.
Yeah. It's funny. You'd be the same. You know what I mean? Like, it's like you grow up loving all this stuff. And now all of a sudden, everyone. Like, like I used to have a poster of Robbie Madison on my wall. Now he's my business partner.
That's insane.
Like, what?
I know. Yeah. It doesn't really like take the passion out of it though, right? Like it's.
No, I love it. Like, it's so funny. Like I go over to the US and we'll be at Rob's house hanging out, and then he goes and he'll go and ride, and I just stand there like I'm a 12-year-old at a freestyle just going, holy shit, like that's Robbie Madison. Like, but then he gets off the bike and it's just Rob again. You know, like,
yeah. I know exactly that. It's almost like they're a normal human being when they're off the bike, and then they get back on it, and you're just like, oh, that's right. Yeah,
oh, that's right. You're really fucking good at this.
Yeah.
I think it's got something to do with the helmet.
Yeah, exactly. And so when did you move up to the East Coast? What was that kind of like?
So I moved to Victoria when I was like 24. And that was pretty crazy because I'd always lived in Tassie. Moving to Melbourne was gnarly because I moved to Melbourne and then started with Rockstar at the same time. So it was all like very big and very, it was fucking crazy, but it was good. Like, it's awesome. Moving to the Gold Coast was awesome. Like, I came here about 5 years ago. It's just, it is sort of like the hub of our industry. I feel like so many crew are here now. I mean, for us, with Fist, like we've got pretty much like most of our world-class BMXs are here, a bunch of our freestyle riders. So, for example, if I need to do a photo shoot tomorrow, there's probably 12 or more people I could sort of ring to do like a really important photo shoot for the brand. Like there's a lot of our guys and girls are here, which is awesome. But then there's also, there's such a lot of creatives here too. So there's a lot of photographers, a lot of videographers, a lot of everything like that around here. So it is definitely makes our life a little easier when it comes to. I kind of like it darker anyway. It's more mysterious.
It's an old camping light. It just works perfectly until now.
Yeah, but like being here, honestly, it's like made it a lot easier being here. Honestly, I feel for the past few years, just because it's accessible. Like there's a lot more, like, it's just more accessible with people, with resources for doing business. Whereas in Tasmania, it was really hard. Like, if I needed to do a photo shoot or whatever, it was like, I needed to I'm not a photographer, but, I would fly somewhere and hire a photographer to shoot the boys, or, I would fly them down and try and do vice versa. But it's always like, and on the Gold Coast, it's so transient here too. Like there's always people here from everywhere, international and stuff too. So you always got someone in town, someone different or someone new in town anyway to do stuff with and whatever else. And it's not, honestly, it's not a hard thing if you've got an athlete that you want to do something with. If you're like, yo, come to the Gold Coast, but I'm like, yep, sweet.
Yeah.
It was
just think about that.
Hard to sell, like, oh, can you come to Hobart to come and do this thing with me? They're like, oh.
I don't know, man. Hobart's sick. I like Hobart.
So sick now, but like I'm talking like 10 years ago.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, it's super sick now. Like, how good's the riding down there now? It's unreal.
And I can't wait to get back there. Hopefully March.
When was the last time you went?
2 years ago, because of the whole COVID thing. And but dude, it's so good down there. The whole atmosphere, I don't know, it's good.
So where did you go to? You went to Medina and?
Yeah, just Medina. Yeah. We just went rode for 5 days and wrecked ourselves. So it's good.
So good, eh?
Yeah, and it's just such a chill town.
Such a good job of that joint, and then the like the vibe and the energy of that joint there is so sick too, because everyone there's just frothing.
Yeah, and that's what you need. Like, you can go as corporate and as big as you want, but you still need that vibe, right?
Absolutely. That's the thing. It's all about the froth level, isn't it?
And I guess like on that topic as well, with technology and everything changing, how hard is it for you to keep up with like marketing and all that type of thing as well?
That hard to keep up with anything, man. Like we run a few different brands out of here now. We do a bunch of different stuff. And it is so hard to keep up. I mean, DM, like honestly, like all the DMs for all the different accounts are almost a full-time job. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm really lucky that we've got an awesome chick that works for us here, Izzy, and she does like our customer service and a lot of our social media stuff. So that used to be all me, which was just a nightmare. to try and
impossible.
Deal with that, deal with everything, whatever else. But she's on top of all of that now, and then she'll sort of like anything that is like sort of related to me or needs my feedback, she'll just go, "Oi, check your phone," like as a DM in Fist DMs that you probably need to get back to, or this is for you, or that's for you, or whatever. Like so we kind of both do it together, but she does all the posting and all that kind of stuff, which is sick because, man, like it's hard, eh? A lot of admin. I struggle to keep up with my own shit. And all these brands and stuff.
Because it's like Fist, Dixon.
So we do Fist, Dixon, Pedal Palms, which is our new it's like a road cycling glove brand that we do.
Okay, yeah. Yep.
Go the Rat. We do. Just trying to think what else. Dry Times. So we've got a towel company now as well. So it's all they've all got separate. They've all got a Facebook. They've all got an Instagram.
Yeah.
They've all got emails. They've all got websites. So it's so. I think the main thing I struggle to keep up with is all the different touch points of things. It's when you messaged me, I'm like, was it on the Fist account? Was it on my personal account?
Dude,
message? I don't know. Where is that? You know what I mean? It's like you got to check 4 different places to see where the message is. And it's like,
yeah, and you could be messaging one person on all 3 of those things, and then you forget which one it was on with the same person.
All the time, man. All the time. I don't know what I'm which platform I'm communicating on, where what's going on. It is hard, eh? I feel like someone needs to develop something like an inbox that all your stuff goes into one inbox or something.
I think there are apps that do it, but I don't want to have to deal with that as well.
There probably is, but then I'd fuck the app up.
And forget one of them, and you're just missing that shit.
Yeah.
So when did Dixon and stuff come about?
So basically, Dixon's an American company.
Okay.
Started by a guy called Danny, who's an absolute legend. I was in the US. I normally, when obviously un-COVID times, but I normally spend a fair bit of time per year in the US, go over for the first 2 or 3 Supercrosses and backwards and forwards for different meetings and this and that and whatever else. And anyway, I saw Twitch and all the boys were wearing these flannels all the time. I'm like, they're sick. And I had a bit of a dig and had a look at the brand, and I was like, wow, that's really cool. So then I looked at that, and then I saw Danny, the owner, him on Instagram, and I started following him, and I was like, man, I just really like their vibe and what they're about. The whole thing. So I just DM'd Danny out of nowhere, and I was like, yo, what's going on? How are you? I've got this brand called Fist. I would really like to do a collab with you, do a glove. And then he wrote back and he's like, haha, well, we actually make gloves, but we just got chatting just about industry and life and whatever else, and we just got along really well. And he's like, man, when are you in the US next? And I'm like, I'm actually coming over in a couple of weeks. He's like, well, if you're in Phoenix, call in and say g'day. And I'm like, yeah, cool, all right. So I went to Phoenix for Supercross, and I thought, I'll call in and see this dude. And went and saw him and sat down, just had a coffee, hung out for a little bit. And then basically he was just like, well, I kind of need someone to run our stuff in Australia. Would you be interested? You've obviously got a warehouse, you know how to ship stuff, you've got a brand, you already know what you're doing. You've got a Shopify store, that's what we do. And I'm like, yeah, sweet. So I'm just like, yeah, why not? Give it a go. You got to, if you get an opportunity, give everything a bit of a go, right? And so we just started. We got 3 different styles of flannel in, and basically sold them out in not long, I think it was a week. We sold all of them, and I was just like, wow, I knew these were cool, but I didn't know they were I didn't know that it was that big. The whole deal was that big, And basically just got started off real small, and now literally the whole downstairs of our warehouse is Dixon, and the upstairs is Fist. Wow. So we got offices and Fist upstairs, and then downstairs is Dixon, and we ship a lot of product, which is really cool, and that gives the Aussies a chance to get the product without having to buy it from the US, without all the hassles that come with international shipping and all that kind of stuff. So it's awesome. It's been going really well. Like, I think we're definitely into our second year now.
Okay. Yeah. So it's pretty recent. Yeah.
It is quite recent. Yeah, totally. But it's going great. Like, and I've learned a lot of stuff from them too. Like they're really big in the US. So the guys there are awesome, and they're legends. So, so they're like, hey, why don't you try this, or why don't you try that, or like, hey, why don't you do this way? And it's like, oh, sick, because it's so cool, because now I can learn things from that and then implicate it for Fist, and you know what I mean? Like, you learn things, and then it works for all the things that we do, because all of our stuff's pretty well set up the same way, you know, with websites and distribution and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of like you learn something here, and then you can use it here, and here as well, you know.
Just makes everything easier. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, you know, we roll out our marketing all the same way, our Facebook, Instagram ads, all that kind of stuff. So, you know, once you learn it, it can work for whatever. And which is great.
So you're basically like a small distribution center as well for some brands?
Yeah, for sure, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, okay, sick. Is there much different? Well, there's obviously going to be a bit of difference, but how did you find your distributor over in the US? Was it the same kind of vibe?
So in the US, it's our own warehouse. We just it's our own stock, and then we just have someone that ships out for us, which is cool. But everywhere else so we've got a bicycle distributor in the US that which is QBP. Basically, how'd that happen? They basically just emailed me to see whether we had US distribution. Well, I'm like, no, we don't. And then backwards and forwards, and struck a deal. But like, we're available. We're available all up in like 26 countries now. So
that's huge.
which is crazy, because in Europe there's like so many people, like so many countries in such a small area. So there's like, you know, we have like web stores that'll sell to like 9 countries, you know. Which is unreal. You can sort of get that coverage over there. But, you know, we've got an amazing distributor in the UK. We've got a really good distributor in New Zealand. We've got awesome people in Japan. We've got Fist Europe, which is my mate Adam Yu over there. He kills it for us as well. Where else? Like, all over the joint. It's crazy. It's hard to keep up.
Like when Unit was like at its prime and stuff, I remember they went to the US and they kind of struggled when they went over there, because they were going up against like Fox, TLD and everyone else, right? Like, was it kind of scary for you to go over and into those countries and stuff as well? Or?
No, I mean, I just think that when they did it, they went over there, they got a massive warehouse, a bunch of staff, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I mean, that's never been an option to me, because I just haven't had the money to do it. So the thing is, like, I've always sort of been more about starting really small and building up, you know, rather than just being like, right, we're going to do this, bang, which is like how some people try and do it. Where I'm like, well, you know what, I can probably afford to buy, say, 300 or 400 pairs of gloves, put them in a warehouse over there, start a little website, which will cost me, you know, maybe a couple of $1,000s to build a website specifically for the US, and then pay someone to send those gloves out when they sell in the US. And then obviously, you know, you get your stock turn, you know, you sell all that stuff, and then you use that to buy double the amount, and then buy double the amount again, and then you buy double the amount again. And, you know, and just build it slowly. I think that people really rush things too much, you know. I mean, I'm the most impatient person in the whole universe, but I just know that timing and letting things mature just rules all in business, you know. And it's like, you know, I feel like people are like, right, I'm going to start a clothing company and I'm going to do this, this, and this, and this in the first like month. And they go, and it's like, well, you've got to let these things mature, because people don't know. Like, you can go into a store and you're like, hi, I'm Sam from whatever clothing. Here's my whole range, you know, blah, blah, blah. But no one's heard of it and no one's seen it before. And you've got to let it mature and build and like become a thing before you expect people to buy into it, you know, like, you know, you've got to do your part to build the brand and make it desirable first before you then expect everyone else to support you. Like, you've kind of got to pay your dues, you know? And I feel like that's the thing. Like with Fist, I was very lucky because it wasn't my full-time job. So it was like, well, I could do this and that's all good as long as it covers itself. That's what really matters. Like, and I'm still to this day, I'm like, well, you know, if we do something different, you know, we just started making socks, for example. And I'm like, well, we'll make some socks. And I know that I'll be able to sell at least a third of them or at least half of them, which is going to cover the cost to making them. So worst case scenario, or worst case scenario, we just sell them for what we paid for them.
You know, break even.
And you break even. And then, you know what? Nothing ventured, nothing gained.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, like without fucking things up, you never learn. And I mean, I've literally fucked up everything. That's the thing. It's so funny. Like, so many of my friends, they're like, oh, I want to do this and I want to do that. And I'm like, well, the thing is, I'll help you. I'll help you with whatever your thing is, but you got to listen to me because I've already made all the fuck ups. So don't. Like if I'm going to tell you something, please listen, because I'm only saying that because I have already fucked that thing up. That's how I know that that's not how you do it.
It is better to learn by mistakes, for sure.
Oh, absolutely. I've made every mistake in the world. So, I mean, that's the thing. Like, it's taken me 10 years to get the brand to this point, but that's because I've literally made every mistake on the way through there is. Like I was telling you, don't dye your palms. You don't need bright red glove palms.
Yeah.
Did. But then they all ripped.
Yeah. What, I guess, like you touched on it then as well, but creating a brand like in these sports and stuff, you also trying to create a culture as a part of it. Was that hard to do itself, or did you kind of just let?
I mean, you just got to let I think you got to let your brand and your personality speak for itself. And I feel like when you start a brand, it's like an extension of your own personality to start with until it gets its own persona, you know? Like at the start, it's just like Sam's Glove Company, you know? Like, I guess like at the very start when I started it and I was trying to sell all this shit, like, or give stuff to my friends or like, you know, local pros that I knew and all that kind of stuff. Like, they weren't buying into it because it was Fist handwear and it was cool or like whatever. They were buying into it because their friend Sam was making gloves and they wanted to support me, you know? And man, I feel like it's the same still, you know, like there's so many athletes that, I mean, it doesn't matter whether it's called Fist or fucking whatever it is. It's like, it's me that I've got the relationship with them. So that's why we are where we are and what we're doing is because of the relationships we have with people. And I mean, that goes for us with like team riders and stuff as well. Like, you know, honestly, like a lot of the time I don't even care about results, you know. I'd rather sponsor an absolute legend who gets 20th than someone who's an arsehole that finishes first. You know what I mean?
100%.
Because a legend that finishes 20th is way more marketable than a fuckwit that finishes first.
They're probably going to commit more to your target market anyway, right?
Yeah. But it's not even really got anything to do with that, but like more so just like, you know, you want someone that people are going to relate to, that people want to be involved with, that people, you know, people vibe with, you know, they're like, oh, fuck, how cool is that guy? Like, he's such a lord. Like, you know, you look at Win Masters, like look at his following.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just because the guy's an absolute legend, you know?
Yeah. And
I mean, does it matter whether Win wins or whether he gets 25th? No one gives a fuck probably.
No, they just want to see him on Instagram later on.
They just want to see him carrying on and being a legend. You know, they don't care about where he gets in the race. I mean, you know, obviously if he won, the whole world would just melt down because he's such a legend. But, you know. The
sport would be over. It's just like done.
Totally.
It's a complete.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, that's what I've always sort of looked at. And that's why I guess in a way it's like, you know, like we don't really ever sent a race resume where we're like, oh, well, this guy got first at his local thing and this guy got, you know, whatever. Oh, we're going to sponsor him because he's winning. It's like, nah, I'll wait until I go to an event and I'm like hanging out, and there's some super cool kid that's just hanging out, being a legend, drinking a couple of beers with us, and it's like, oh, what do you do? Oh yeah, I'll do this or whatever else, and yeah, sick. Oh, I'll send you some gloves or whatever. Like that's more what we're about. Like it's a bit more.
That's way better. I reckon. I'm like, yeah, I actually had a kid the other day, like a father of a kid, and they're like, my son's writing a resume to get sponsored. And I'm like, he's 10. Just let him relax and race and
relax, eh?
and then
he's a massive legend. You'll probably have people lining up.
I'm like, yeah, he's a good kid. All he's got to do is go out to these events, and if he gets noticed, he gets noticed. Like, there's no point emailing a resume.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't work like that. Yeah.
I mean, I feel so bad because I get emailed a lot of them, and it's like I'm pretty busy, and it's hard to like.
Yep.
Like, but then on the other hand, you feel really bad because like this person's gone to all of this effort to like send you this resume and to make this resume, and it's kind of like, well, we're not at that size where we're like, oh, here you go, team manager. Here's 150 random resumes that I've been sent. Go through and pick some kids to sponsor. We're not at that size. Like, we can't afford to do that. So I guess it's sort of like one of those things where it's like, you pick and choose who you doing stuff like that with, just purely because, it's more a vibe to tribe thing,
Yeah, 100%. How deep down the rabbit hole do you go in, like looking at returns on investment and stuff like that from your athletes, or you just thought so, sick?
Yeah. Pretty zero. I mean, we know whose product sells good. I mean, but it's not so much that we like look at numbers or anything. Like, I can just tell you like what sells good. But then on the other hand, it's also like what sells, like, is it the athlete selling it, or is it the design? Is it a combination of both? Is it everything all together? Like with Caroline, it's definitely a whole piece together, because like obviously the designs that we come up with her are awesome because she's really creative, but then she's also really creative on the marketing side, and she's also really, really proactive when it comes to marketing and marketing herself and the brands that have got to do with her. So it becomes like a great overall package because she is so good at that. I mean, if I was a kid coming through the ranks, whether you're a dude or a chick, like you could not choose a better person to watch and look at how they go about their business than Caroline.
100%. Yeah.
100% smokes everyone.
Yeah.
Smokes everyone.
Self-built, self-taught, like everything is.
Yeah, completely. Like I said to you before, we always laugh because I'm like, fuck, you're like way better at all this shit than I am.
Dude, when we did my episode, by the time I'd finished, she's already like, I've got all these videos that I want to use, clips and stuff from that. I'm like, I haven't even got to that yet. Like,
you're like, I don't even know how to do that.
Yeah. I'm like, it's been 10 minutes. I just finished my coffee.
I know. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. If I was a kid coming through, I would just work out how to market myself. I wouldn't put a resume in. I'd just work on marketing myself and what you're all about as a person and an athlete,
Yeah, it is much more important to do that and to relax and you don't need to get sponsored.
I mean, a really, really good way of not getting sponsors is to hassle the sponsors.
Yeah.
It's just like, man, I don't want to deal with this. Can you just stop?
I've been guilty on the wrong end of that as well.
Oh, same though. Like, I mean, that was the thing. Like when I was a kid, I loved it, man. And that's why I think I'm so passionate about like the industry and all the products and the brands and all that. I just fucking loved it. And I just wanted to be sponsored and stuff because I just wanted to be involved, and I just loved all of that stuff. I looking back on it now, I loved all the business aspect of that stuff before I even knew that was me trying to do business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I didn't know that it was just me trying to get sponsored. But really what I was doing that was like the earliest variation of me doing business. You know what I mean? Like, without even knowing that I was doing it.
That's so good. Easy, man. Might start trying to wrap things up here a bit.
Yeah.
I usually like to ask, don't take too much of your time up, but I usually like to ask like 3 questions at the end of every podcast.
Okay.
First one's the easiest one, but what advice would you give to someone that wants to start their own company or be a bit more entrepreneurial, or I guess you've already touched on it, but someone that wants to be sponsored and stuff, like what advice would you give those?
I mean, basically, the number one piece of advice I reckon is that timing's everything, and that everything takes time, and you need to remember, everything. You just gotta, it's just a timing thing, and you've got to work out what you want to do, figure out. Like, you kind of reverse engineer it, right? This is what I want to do. I want to make a company that does this. And then what you do is then you work backwards and you go, right, well, to do that, I need to have, a product. And then I need to have a way of working out how to do marketing. And then I need to, so you work it out backwards. And you know what? I had so many people tell me that doing a glove only company was so stupid.
Yeah. Sick. How wrong were they?
Yeah, but like the thing is, pick something that's not so flooded, I mean, everyone, I'm going to go start a clothing company. It's like, well, that's cool. Why don't you start the world's sickest hoodie company? And then you can make t-shirts and shit that go along with it, but have a product that you own and that you make your own. You really like zero in and make the world's sickest hoodie. And then from that, you can do all this other stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Be known for something and be really good at something, and then widen it out, like pick a cool little niche and own the space, and then you can widen it out and start doing other stuff after that,
Yeah, I completely, that's really cool. You can't just go and do it all at once, right? Like, you're just going to burn yourself out.
I mean, the number one thing is, even like for me now, to do like 10 different products, it ends up being too fucking expensive, because you've got to have like all this stock of this, 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 or you could just have tons of gloves.
Yeah.
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 And you've got all the sizes, you've got all the colors, you've got all the everything. Whereas if I was trying to do, say, riding gear, gloves, pants, helmets, like, man, the investment on that is just ridiculous. Like,
it's easy.
Oh, yeah, like tens of millions, like to be a Fox or, a Troy Lee or something. It is crazy. Like, if you start small, you can build on it. And that's the best piece of advice I can give is start really small and don't get loans. People are like, I'm going to go get a loan, start a clothing company. I'm like, oh, fuck, here we go. Just, it's like, just start, you can start everything from this big and grow it,
Yeah. Don't get a loan. I nearly went down that path the other day, and I'm like,
oh, it's scary.
Don't do it.
No. You can work out ways of doing things.
Yeah. I'd almost rather own a drug dealer than a drug dealer than a bank sometimes, that's for sure.
Oh, man, hectic. Yeah.
Is there anything you would have done differently up until now? Is there any lessons you might have learned?
Nah, because I feel like all the lessons I learned and everything I fucked up is just like an expensive university degree. I never went to uni.
Yep.
Everything I learned was by me fucking stuff up. So I wouldn't change anything at all, because the reason I am where I am now and what I know now is because of all the things that haven't gone right.
Yeah. Perfect. And last question I always like to ask, seems to be pretty hard for most people, but what music do you kind of listen to if you're like not motivated or you're kind of down and you need to get motivation? Is there anything you kind of listen to or gets you G'd up?
Heaps of stuff. Like, I'm a big Rage Against the Machine fan. I actually had tickets to go see Rage Against the Machine at Oakland at Raiders Stadium. And then COVID squashed that little dream. So I do actually still have tickets to that. If it ever happens, and B, if we're ever allowed in America again.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sick.
But any stuff like that, like, I mean, I've always been like a big punk rock kid, so I grew up on all that, all that stuff.
It almost was like a part of the scene.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like you couldn't grow up like watching moto and mountain bike videos without being into Pennywise and all that kind of stuff, and
Rob Zombie on every
Rob Zombie. Interesting story. I actually worked for Rob Zombie randomly for a day. My one of my really good friends used to like drive people around as a job, like for like big day out and stuff like that. Anyway, he hit me up. He's like, "Oh, can you do a day's worth of work for us? Yeah, I need someone to drive Rob Zombie around for the day." I'm like, "Fucking hell, I'm there."
That's so good.
Yeah, he was really man, he was so mellow. I was expecting him to be this like real gnarly dude, and he was actually like the nicest, most polite fella in the entire universe. And I was just like, this is not at all what I thought.
Oh man, what a note to end on.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, thanks so much for coming on, man. Thanks for all your support.
No worries. Thanks for having me, man. And I love what you're doing over there. It's awesome, and keep at it. It's sick.
Cheers, man. Thank you. It really means a lot coming from you. So
no worries,
really
brother.
Stoked.
Awesome.
Easy, man. Enjoy. We'll speak soon.
Thank you.
Cheers. Bye.